Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Why don't you think about this for a second? When you add something to your home, new couch, pillow, change the color on the wall, you ever think why you did it? Part of it is we need a new couch. That one was getting old. Why did you pick the one that you picked? Why did you pick that color on the wall? There's a reason. And especially when somebody helps you pick it, it connects with you, your energy, your mental health. We're going to go deep into that today. Not too woo-woo, but a little deeper. I don't want to scare anybody here. And that's what makes her different as an interior designer. Rebecca Pogonitz joins us as our professional of the year. She's back with us. How are you today?
I'm awesome. Yay. Sun's shining here in Chicago.
Same here in New York, and it's Friday, so
yes,
it's good. It's good.
All is good.
So now that we're talking about this, I think of the items in my place and why they're there and what the psychology was in the selection of them. But this is what you do when you work with somebody. I have to believe that there's a little bit of fact finding in the beginning. Like if we were working together for the first time, you would ask a lot of questions about me, my life, the function of the home, the room, and all of that to kind of figure out what makes me tick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And among those questions are what colors make you feel good? Which colors don't you like? And inevitably someone always says, oh, I hate this color. I hate that color. And I'm thinking, oh, we're not including that color. Or, what's your lifestyle? What's going to make you feel less stressed? And how do you feel about lighting and how, do you like bright light? Do you like lower light? So it's very psychological, after all, our minds are connected to our bodies, right? So we can create an environment where you can truly thrive. And it just takes a little more thought and patience because it's really about people. I find when I meet my clients, they're learning about themselves. I call it a journey of self-discovery because they hire me because they don't even know where to begin. And I help them figure out what their needs are. And that's the crux of being human, right? What are your needs? What's going to fill you up? And I just consider that the highest priority. So
Interestingly, when you say this, I know exactly what I like and what I don't like. And I wonder if other people are like that.
No. Well, I do get, okay, I was too quick to answer. I do get comments where I do know what I like and I don't like. However, there's a whole world out there. And so I always introduce things that they not necessarily know if they like. I broaden their world. So, yeah, I find that a lot of people just don't know where to begin. They just don't have, is it the right side of the brain? Or they don't care. But then when we're going through the process, all of a sudden they're getting excited. And the whole process of designing your home, studies have shown triggers that dopamine, like when we work out or we're hanging out with friends, it's the happy hormone, right? And it's, I find people getting more energetic when I'm working with them. It's really exciting. So, and fun.
I see it and I can feel it. Like when I look at your website, projects, gallery, I'll see things. I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, that's exciting. I'm excited. If I had that, I would be excited if that was in my space. Do you think it would be impactful if I shared what I like, don't like? And would you be able to tell me a little bit about me or how you would redesign
Sure.
my
Oh,
living
that would be
space?
a blast. Yeah.
So this doesn't mean that this is the way my place is now necessarily. This is what motivates me when I see pictures. So here we go. I love greens. I love blues. I love a tropical
Nice.
feel. I love simplicity. I love light. My bedroom now have this big window. I don't know what they call it, but it's an arch window, then a window below it. First thing in the morning, sun is shining in. The furniture in there is darker, came from my previous house. and that had a tropical feel to it. The walls right now have not been painted. They're like a light gray, but kind of boring.
Mhm.
Um, but the simple part is me. Now the me now. That was different back in the day. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
Browns, meh, it's all right. If it's a dark wood, I'm okay with it,
Mhm.
but it's got to
Mhm.
be pops of color. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's
Mhm.
that's what I'm seeing in my head. If you were holding my hand through this process, that's what I would be saying, and that's what I would kind of
Mhm.
be looking for. What does it say?
Well,
He's a
that's
weirdo.
not at all, but that's what makes you special, right? Um, the first thing I take from that is greens and blues are soothing colors. They remind you of the water. You mentioned tropical. So, the color of the ocean, that's very therapeutic. You mentioned simplicity. That gives us clarity of mind when we're in our spaces. We have more expansiveness. You mentioned pops of color. I see in your office now. Um, Pops of color, as long as that adds energy, it adds fun energy, it adds it you mentioned gray walls, which actually could be a backdrop for those pops of color, so that creates, so it's not so bad that your walls are gray. So that's balancing it all. You mentioned light, natural light. Again, going back to our brains, natural light, studies have shown, increases the serotonin in you, which is another happiness. You feel good. All those meds people are taking or whatever, it's to boost our serotonin, or people work out to boost their dopamine. So all of these things that you're mentioning are ways to improve your well-being. It sounds like you're in a really good place. So,
Working on it. And
well,
to
but it's like we're all works in progress, right?
oh, totally. We're all on a journey. And yes, this wall back here is a gray, and I
Mhm.
made that one orange because I like that pop. This is, I'm in an office. This is not my home. My home doesn't have, bright colors on the wall yet. Um, but as you were dissecting my design desires, if you will,
Mhm.
I thought about spending time at a friend's house in the Caribbean. He's since sold the house, but I was there probably a handful of times, and it was whitewash. The wood was just whitewash. If there was a beam in the ceiling, it wasn't a dark wood. And I love that. Just white, airy, bright, clean is definitely me with pops of color. So
And a good view
well, of course.
of the ocean.
and
So
and the view out my bedroom window, it's okay. There's a tree there and stuff, but it's when I'm laying there, I'm not even kidding. I just think I'm someplace else where, if it's colder out and I have the window, I like a nice breeze. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm up somewhere north in New Hampshire. Again, I'm in New York, or I could be in the Caribbean right now, and the wind is blowing in there too. So
Yeah. It's
I
about yeah.
I know
Sorry.
what I
It's
want. I
about
think I know what I want.
well, that's in a great place because that's half the battle sometimes.
Hmm.
That gives us a clear guiding light as to what we're going for. And it's interesting, whenever I meet a client and they hire me, I always like to define a particular design style. So I always have wacky names like modern bohemian twist. So maybe your style is tropical modern minimalism or something.
I
But
I think I refer to it as I need to get the hell out of here for a week. Yeah. Uh,
yeah,
but that's
yeah.
got to be so exciting for you as a designer when you've received that information from a client and it's like, oh, I got it now. Now
Oh
I
yeah.
know. Now at least I'm in the proverbial ballpark, so now I can play in this ballpark as opposed to, on my way to the game. I'm not even sure where I am. Now we're playing baseball. We're in this park. It's not football based on what they said. And now you can execute how that game's going to go.
Right. And my process is, after doing all of the questions and all of the intake, I create a presentation. I do most of the selections, and then I present to the client some design concepts. So even if they know what they want, we have to have some concepts to build upon. And when I hit it, and I'd like to say I hit it 95% of the time, um, it just feels so good. I get the
Mm,
chills, like,
mm,
yes, okay, let's get this party started, you know? And then the hardest part is defining which direction we're going to go in, because that just takes a lot of analysis and thought, and I like to call it marinating. Um, but once we have that direction, it's easy peasy. Some people
mm.
might not think it's easy peasy, but for me, it's just, I take it and I run with it.
You've got GPS now. Yeah,
Absolutely.
you
That's
know
what I
where you're going to
say.
go. Like that, this is
Yeah,
it's going to, as
I
opposed
love
to
it.
where are we going? I'm not really sure. How are we going to get there? I'm not really sure because I don't know where we're going. So even if I had GPS,
Exactly.
but when you nail that, I would think that you're almost halfway there to, a spectacular design.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And what the beauty of it is life is, we thrive on human connection, right? So my approach to my work is, I'm not this aloof interior designer or whatever. I'm very down to earth. I'm gregarious. I try to create warm energy with our projects. And you know, it's about human connection. And even though this is a professional transaction, it's really my responsibility to get to know you as well as I can, because this is your home
Yeah.
and it's your bank account, and it's a huge responsibility. At least I look at it as that, and I don't, I'm a pleaser. I don't want to let people down,
Well,
so I do my best.
you take it seriously, and it
Mhm,
is very personal for you and also who you're working with. They're going to
mhm,
see it every day. They made the investment in it. They have to
mhm,
love it and live in it. I want to
mhm.
look at the psychological aspect of a lot of this. Can you share some things that you might design or you have designed that translate to a goal or feeling? Like you said, the blues and the greens that I gravitate or want to gravitate toward
Mhm.
are soothing colors. Any other things that can give us something to think about?
Yeah, I worked on a home in Minneapolis on Lake Josephine, outside of Minneapolis. And it really was all about the view, and just expanding on the view and bringing it into the home. So you have that same feel that you're on the water outdoors as you are indoors. So we took the color palette from outdoors, and those were our accent colors.
Wow.
Yeah, and then going down to the lower level, that's where the family entertains, but it's pool. There's a fancy bar we created. There's a wine cellar, and I made it really moody and loungy. So upstairs, kind of sexy, moody, for people just to chill. Upstairs is lively and bright and airy, where they have their meals with the lake coming in. So in the house, there's just a lot of different moods. And it's all about, you still want to have continuity throughout the house, but it's really about what your needs are and the function of the space and the mood you want. And that's really going to fill you up and bring you joy.
Hmm.
So,
It is. There's more going on here than just Rebecca coming in and throwing a red pillow on your couch. It really is. Like, and that's where you need to get inside the
yeah,
head of
exactly.
who you work with. Um, I've over the years, I've seen this
Mhm,
more and more and learned it more and more, even right down to when we have clutter. And it's my understanding, talking to do even doing podcasts or friends who are therapists, counselors, psychics, all of that.
mhm.
When there's clutter, it's not because we're slobs. It's because we have stuff going on psychologically, things
Oh,
from our past. And there's a reason that there's stuff around us. And then number two, coming from an energetic standpoint, when you have stuff, it's almost like a double-edged sword. When you have that stuff around you, now you're blocking the flow of energy, and that's preempting you from really moving your life forward. Every time you walk in, there's a box there. This couch is not placed properly. I'm not even going feng shui yet. I'm just talking about just general stuff
Mm-hmm.
in the way that
Mm-hmm.
there's blocks, and you might not feel it, but when you walk into a room, you're like, eh, I worked all day and I walked in and I'm like, yeah, this is it. I'm home. You should say, oh my gosh, it's so great to come home. I'm feeling, that
Mm-hmm.
the room welcomed me with what was around
Mm-hmm.
there. And if you're not
Mm-hmm.
feeling that, it's time for a redesign. Something's up, something's wrong.
Yeah, whether it's even just rearranging your furniture or putting up a color, because when the color isn't right, there are blocks, not to go too woo-hoo, but I do believe in, the chakra system and that we're made up of energy, and each chakra represents a color. And if that particular point is blocked, literally you can just being in the color or holding the color. So for instance, if I need a blue wall or even something red, according to the different chakras, it's healing, believe it or not, just to have some of that color with you. It's fascinating how color and space and light just works together to heal,
Yeah.
and it's just fascinating.
I completely feel the same way. And looking back on my life, I regret that I didn't take, I regret that I dropped out of psychology when I first started going to school. And now I'm like, oh, man, this is so cool. This is so interesting. The things that, what makes us tick, what makes us operate.
Oh my gosh, our brains are so powerful, right? And it's just connected to the spiritual realm. It's connected to our brains are connected to the physical realm. I mean, it's just it's mind-blowing for me. And it's an honor to be able to, I call it healing spaces. It's also on my website. My mission is to heal a space. So ultimately, I can help heal the people just from general stress, not necessarily a mental illness, but, uh, general stress. The world is really crappy.
Mm,
It's always been crappy, but it's particularly so right now. And we need a respite. We need a respite from our lives. And especially since COVID, I know this is said over and over again, but there became this focus on the home and family and spending time together, and people needed human connection, so they were embellishing, enhancing their homes. The design industry was busy as heck. So over
huh.
COVID, I was out on job sites with masks and everything.
Wow. I
So
would never have thought that. I would think it would have been uh the opposite. The opposite, that things were, on hold for the moment. But then it was also, when you think of it too, people were like, ah, I'm spending time with my family here in this room. This room has not changed in 25 years. It's still, or it's still stuck in the 90s, or the 80s. I need a change. I need a change.
right, yeah, I mean, they're spending more time in their homes, so now they're really seeing, oh yeah, that doesn't make me feel good.
Right.
So, and
Wow.
some people were a little wary, but we were busy. We were busy, and we just had our masks and we kept our distance, and um it felt soothing to people just going through the process of improving their home. And so I think our industry really benefited from COVID. I know that's kind of well, I think the world well, that's a whole different discussion, but COVID happened for many reasons, but
Sure.
it's just there's this focus on home, and our industry really lucked out on that because we're busy.
Well, interestingly, you had COVID, then you had a spike in real estate prices.
Oh gosh,
Then
yeah.
even 2 years later, here we are. Now, at least here in New York, real estate prices are higher. Now we
Interest
have the
rate.
interest rate higher, and many people are saying, I'm staying here. There's nowhere for us to go
Exactly.
because we sell. It's going to cost this much to buy. So Let's just invest in changing our living space and making it look different and enjoying what we have. Which
Yeah,
I got.
people are changing their priorities in terms of, I want to stay in this neighborhood. You know what? We love the schools. I love the area. Why not just stay? And people's priorities changed.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's true. And with sometimes there's very little inventory out there, and then it's interesting times, that's for sure.
Without a doubt, without a doubt.
Mhm.
What's the number one thing that people feature or direction that you find people ask for? Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do it, but in their mind, yeah, give me that. I need that. What is it? Something come to mind for you?
Feature in terms of aesthetics or amenity. I think it's really about the experience and how can we make the experience better. Sorry, my phone is ringing in the background.
Oh, no problem. You're
And
you're you're a busy woman. There's somebody needs they need a design intervention stat. Get on that.
or someone's listening to this and the phone's ringing. So I'd say it's about experience and enhancing the experience, and it's different for everyone else. I don't know if that answers your question, but you know
Enhancing
what
the
I'm saying?
experience. So give an example.
Well, for instance, in the kitchen, we're very, very thoughtful about how things are laid out and the kind of storage we need and the flow. And I had clients who were huge coffee drinkers. Is there a coffee station? Is there a baking station? It's about
Hmm,
amenities.
okay.
Of course, in the bathroom, it's like the first thing I ask is, do you want body sprays? Do you need a rainforest? Do you need a steam shower? Are you creating a spa in here? Now, showers have aromatherapy and color therapy. And it's really about making sure people are educated about what's out there now. So I
Yes.
can say, do you want that kind of experience? Because you now can get it. Or, with televisions, now you can get televisions that look like art and you can frame them. So you don't have this huge TV in the middle of the space. So,
Yes. This is where your value comes in. All
mhm,
these little things, like you could get uh your faucet in the kitchen can make coffee. It's water anyway. Why do you have to go to the Keurig machine over here? You got the faucet, put a
sure.
pot. That's just, but the aromatherapy, amazing. How do we connect with you? Somebody is thinking of making a change. They're saying there's no way we're moving. Doesn't make any sense. Rebecca, how do we find you?
Give me a call. I would love to chat. 847-337-0526. Check out my website and learn more about me, please. GOGOdesigngroup.com. I am on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Just look for GOGO Design Group and reach out. I'd love to
Yeah,
chat.
you make it fun. You really do.
Oh, thanks. I
Yep.
do have fun, that's for sure. I mean, it's about having fun, right?
Yeah. Well, you should have fun too when you come home and just feel that vibrant experience after a long day's work. And appreciate you being here and looking forward next time we talk.
Oh, thanks so much. Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.